What is the simplest and fastest way to get started with Teams app development, but not block yourself into a corner later? Usually that kind of simplicity means you're compromising on flexibility later. Hey, I'm John, stay right there, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. All right, here we are inside of VS Code. I've already installed Teams Toolkit from the marketplace. And the simple and fast way to get started is just to go to the Teams Toolkit tab on the left and create a new app. And you can pick from any of the project templates. I'm going to pick a very simple template here. I'll choose basic bot, keep things simple with JavaScript, and all the defaults are fine. So for number one, I want to automate any setup tasks. You can do that with Teams Toolkit using the YAML files, and we've separated it so you can customize the automation for your local development environment. So that's your F5 or start debugging experience. We've also separated it for the Teams app test tool, which I have another video on that if you want to check that out. And we've also provided a way to configure when you're running remotely and not in your F5 experience. Inside the local YAML file is all the automation steps that the toolkit does whenever you press start debugging or F5. This bot template includes everything I need to automate the setup for a bot. So that's create a Teams app, register a bot framework app, validate my app manifest, validate the package. And since this is a JavaScript project that has some NPM dependencies, it also runs NPM install. So I'm all set and ready to go. Okay, that's automation and it's kind of flexible, but sometimes you aren't able to create these resources, or maybe your account doesn't have permissions to do it. So what do you do then? Well, these files work in configuration with environment files. So you can go over to the env folder and see that we have already set up by default a couple environments for you to handle different configuration sets. If you look in the YAML files, you'll see this syntax with the curly brackets, and it's reading the name of an environment variable. So if I go to env.local, I can look for that environment variable and handle replacement. So for these things like a bot ID or Teams app ID, whatever you use in the automation, you can just paste in a value that you were given and the tools will just use those values instead of creating something new. This gives you flexibility to automate the creation or just paste in an ID. Speaking of these environment variables, where are they used? Well, one place that they're used outside of the automation is inside the manifest file. So the manifest has a bunch of generated values that you're going to need. So for example, here's the Teams app ID. Again, the same curly bracket syntax. And whenever the tools run something like building the app package, so that's the final zip file, then it will do a replacement of these values for you. This makes it possible for you to have different environments across things like dev, test, and prod, and only use a single manifest. Keep things a lot more organized and simpler for you. You can add new environments just creating new env files, or you can jump over to the Teams Toolkit menu and you can just create new environments here. Okay, so the question was, can we have simple tools to do simple things, but then still remain flexible as our application gets more complicated? I think we did do that with Teams Toolkit. So build your next app with Teams Toolkit and take advantage of the automation and environment features. They're simple, but also super powerful. I left the link to get started with Teams Toolkit in the description below. And if you learned something, like the video. And if you want more insights like this, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.